They released the bats at dawn, and the sky caught fire. The witness was a U.S. Air Force technician describing a secret test in the New Mexico desert, a weapon that turned living creatures into incendiary bombs. World War II drove nations to invent horrors no one had imagined. Some were brilliant. Others were madness dressed as science. Behind sealed doors, scientists weaponized biology, chemistry, even nature itself. Animals became carriers, humans became data, and entire landscapes were sacrificed to perfect new ways to kill. Today, we open the file on the war's strangest and darkest experiments, from America's bat bombs to Japan's Unit 731 and Britain's Operation Vegetarian. By 1942, the world was bleeding on every front. Conventional weapons had reached their limits, but science had not. Every power, Axis and Allied, sought an advantage too terrible to predict. The Geneva Protocol banned biological and chemical warfare, yet almost every signatory broke it in secret. In Washington, unconventional proposals reached the Oval Office. In Manchuria, Japanese doctors dissected their captives alive. And on a remote Scottish island, British scientists prepared to poison an entire continent. The Bat Bomb Project. It began with a dentist. Little Adams of Pennsylvania wrote a letter to President Roosevelt after visiting Carlsbad Caverns. His plan? Attach miniature incendiary charges to Mexican free-tailed bats. Release them over Japan's paper-built cities at dawn. Let gravity and biology do the rest. Roosevelt approved the idea under Project X-ray. By 1943, hundreds of bats were frozen into hibernation, fitted with timed napalm bombs, and loaded into casings designed to open mid-air. When released, they scattered and roosted in attics, temples, and warehouses. The results were devastating and uncontrolled. During a field trial at Carlsbad Army Air Base, several bats escaped. They ignited the fuel depot and burned down part of the base itself. The military quietly ended the program after the atomic bomb rendered it obsolete. Declassified reports confirmed that Project X-ray consumed over $2 million and reached advanced testing stages at Dugway Proving Ground. The idea was scientifically sound and morally unthinkable. It proved that even absurd ideas could find funding when the goal was annihilation. While the U.S. flirted with fire, Japan built death factories. In 1932, under General Shiro Ishii, the Imperial Army created Epidemic Prevention and Water Purification Department, 731, near Harbin, China. The name was a lie. Behind its walls, medical officers performed experiments so brutal that even Nazi doctors later expressed shock. Prisoners, Chinese civilians, Korean partisans, Soviet and Allied POWs were infected with plague, cholera, anthrax, and frostbite. They were vivisected alive, sometimes without anesthetic, so researchers could watch infection spread in real time. Some were placed in pressure chambers until their eyes burst. Others were tied to stakes and bombed with plague-filled shells. Declassified Soviet tribunal documents from the 1949 Khabarovsk trial estimate more than 10,000 victims. Entire Chinese villages were deliberately contaminated to study epidemic patterns. When Japan surrendered, Ishii destroyed the facilities and negotiated with the U.S. for immunity. Declassified Army intelligence files, Operation Paperclip Far East 1947, confirmed that American officials traded clemency for his data on plague weaponization. Those files were later forwarded to Fort Detrick, Maryland, foundation of the U.S. Biological Warfare Program. None of Unit 731's senior doctors ever faced a U.S. court. Many re-entered Japan's post-war medical industry. Shiro Ishii retired comfortably and died in 1959. Britain's official war narrative speaks of courage and restraint. Its secret files tell another story. In 1942, the War Cabinet authorized a plan to destroy Germany's livestock and farmland. Its code name, Operation Vegetarian. At Porton Down, scientists coated linseed cattle feed cakes with anthrax spores. 5 million units were manufactured in Shropshire. If Germany invaded Britain, Royal Air Force bombers would drop the cakes over German pastures. Cattle would die, spores would spread, and famine would cripple the Reich. To test it, researchers needed an isolated site. They chose Gruinard Island off Scotland's northwest coast. Sheep were tethered in blast zones. Anthrax bombs detonated. Within days, the animals were dead. No vegetation grew again for decades. Gruinard was declared contaminated until 1990, the longest quarantine in British history. When declassified in 1998, cabinet papers revealed that Churchill personally approved the production order. Even outside these programs, Allied experiments crossed moral lines. Mustard gas trials on Indian soldiers at Rawalpindi left permanent burns. Subjects were never told what they were inhaling. War blurred the line between defense and atrocity until it vanished entirely. After 1945, the victors buried their crimes beneath secrecy stamps. Gruinard Island was fenced with barbed wire. In 1986, the government finally sterilized it using formaldehyde and seawater, a project costing £500,000. Even today, radiation and spore levels remain slightly elevated. In Japan, Unit 731's archives were destroyed, but fragments resurfaced in Soviet and Chinese collections. The victims' names were suppressed for 70 years. In 2018, Japan's Ministry of Health released a partial roster of 3,607 staff, a gesture too late for justice. The United States gained more than information. At Fort Detrick, the data from Ishii's unit became the backbone of Operation Whitecoat. Human tests using Seventh-day Adventist volunteers exposed to Q fever and tularemia. Publicly, it was medical research. Privately, it continued the logic of wartime experimentation. Porton, down in Britain, followed a similar path, developing nerve agents such as VX and later contributing to NATO's chemical defense programs. The ethics remained buried under the language of deterrence. By the 1960s, international treaties outlawed biological weapons, but none demanded full disclosure of wartime experiments. No Allied government faced tribunal for human testing. Science had advanced. Conscience had not. The ghosts of these programs still echo in modern headlines. Outbreak drills, gain-of-function research, laboratory leaks. All trace conceptual lineage to the lessons of World War II. Each begins with a rational goal: prevention, defense, understanding. Each carries the same potential for catastrophe. What began as wartime desperation evolved into Cold War doctrine. The Soviet Union established Biopreparat, a network of secret facilities producing weaponized anthrax and smallpox by the ton. Western intelligence discovered it only after a 1979 leak in Sverdlovsk killed at least 66 civilians. The chain of cause and effect leads straight back to 1942, to the dentist with the bats, to the general with the scalpel, to the island where nothing grew. Their legacy isn't technology, it's permission. Permission to cross ethical lines in the name of survival. Once granted, it never truly expires. The strange weapons of World War II proved a single truth. Human ingenuity is limitless, and so is its cruelty. When the enemy is fear itself, every experiment becomes justified. And after the fires of war died, the laboratories stayed open. They simply turned inward, toward the human mind. Because the next battlefield was consciousness. Subscribe to Sealed Secrets, where the next classified file is already waiting.